Hi everyone, welcome to Unit 6 Legal and Ethical Issues in Nursing Informatics. Our discussion for today can be found in the book Nursing Informatics and the Foundation of Knowledge, 5th edition by McGonigal and Messian, Chapter 5. If you want to follow through, please read the book in Chapter 5, and this will be our main source for today's discussion. The objectives for today's discussion are the following. Recognize ethical dilemmas in nursing informatics. We will examine ethical implications of nursing informatics, evaluate professional responsibilities for the ethical use of healthcare informatics technology, explore the ethical model for ethical decision making, and the last one is to analyze practical ways of applying the ethical models for ethical decision making to manage ethical dilemmas in nursing informatics. These are the terms that I will be mentioning in this video, and make sure you hit that search button if you don't know what these terms mean before going through these lectures. Before we proceed further, I would like to ask a question. Have you seen Robot and Frank movie? This is a 2012, I think a 2012 tech comedy movie. Not a lot of people know this movie, but this is a movie that I recommend my informatics class watching because it is timely, it is inspirational, and it is something to think about knowing that the world is changing. And also, there are some ethical dilemmas or issues that you could pull out from this movie. I would like to show you a video clip of Robot and Frank taken from YouTube, and watch this. So this is Frank, a retired older adult person fighting from being alone and possibly dementia or memory loss, and he has two kids. Let's continue watching. So this is the robot, a caretaker running in artificial intelligence program and designed to.
There's this fundraiser party thing on Friday, and all the young hoity-toity couples are gonna come.
Sounds awful.
Yeah. Do you want to come with me?
Loaded. I know exactly who the first mark is gonna be.
Planning this burglary was a great idea. I'm very pleased with your progress, Frank.
That was your best time yet.
Frank, it's me.
So this movie has a lot of ethical issues that we need to talk about. This is also an issue in artificial intelligence on the extent on how we use them, and also issues in replacing people to take care of people.
What's going on in there?
Frank Weld is a suspect in a multi-million-dollar robbery.
Get in.
That's impossible.
I'm in a bit of trouble.
Of course you are.
I need him.
What do you need him for?
He's my friend. You're starting to grow on me.
Thank you, Frank.
So if you want to watch the movie is full of ethical issues, and for me, this is a simulation of the future because this is the pathway that I think the world is moving towards, and it is possible. It's possible nowadays that robots are developed for their potential application in healthcare, especially in the care of elderly. You'll be amazed that robots are now being slowly integrated into the system. In the hospital where I work, they are integrated into some jobs, delivery jobs, and we have a research team that robustly researching into the possibilities of AI or robotics application to healthcare. And we have to talk about the ethics and acceptance behind this technology. And as an activity, your Unit 6 activity will be watching Robot and Frank. So the following are the instructions for your activity for this week. So watch Robot and Frank movie in Apple TV or any other platform and answer the following question. Select one of the healthcare ethics theories that I will be talking about in this discussion and argue against its use in examining ethical issues in the use of robotics and AI technology in healthcare. Use the situation in the Robot and Frank movie. Use APA format, APA 7 format, and should be Times New Roman or Calibri font 12, double space, at least 2 pages discussion, or body not to include the cover and the reference page, and submit or upload your assignment in the stream with the title Unit 6 Activity 1 Robot and Frank. Make sure you follow the name, format, last name, title of the activity. Continuing with our discussion on Unit 6 Legal and Ethical Issues in Nursing Informatics. Now, as we enter into the knowledge age, the way we interact with people, the environment becomes more complex as well, as healthcare is applying modern approaches, new technologies, and artificial intelligence. Healthcare has never been the same way like before, according to McGonigal and Mystery in 2021, that as healthcare continues its journey into digital communications, telehealth, and wearable technologies, it brings some familiar tools and skills recognized in the form of values such as privacy, confidentiality, autonomy, and non-maleficence. As we adapt to new forms of technology, knowledge development, evidence-based changes in patient care, the standards for living out these values will take on new meaning as we confront new and different moral dilemmas. Ethical decision making. So these are frameworks. The frameworks will remain constant, but the context of examining these moral issues or ethical dilemmas will become increasingly complex. So what's the purpose of ethics in nursing informatics? Its purpose is to explore moral principles that govern our use of new technologies and new methods in healthcare. So before, we don't have virtual world, and now we do have virtual world. Patients go into the internet to look for advice. We go into the internet to socialize. And like the physical world, we have to have an ethics when we go to, or a norm or an etiquette when we go to these virtual worlds. We call it an etiquette. So later on this lecture, I will discuss about what is an etiquette. So as healthcare, before we are used that the patient should go into hospital and see the doctor, and now we go to the virtual world and see a doctor. So our ethical decision making will remain the same, but the approaches and the methods will never be the same again. Today, we will briefly discuss ethics and bioethics, the evolution of ethical approaches, and recent findings from some literatures related to issues in nursing informatics. I challenge you to think critically about ethics as they become involved in healthcare informatics and stay updated to the trends in ethical approaches. So what is ethics? According to McGonigal and Mystery in 2021, that it is a process of systematically examining varying viewpoints related to moral questioning of right and wrong. You heard it. Moral questioning of right and wrong. Before, when I was young, ethics, when I was little, ethics, I think in the 1980s, let's just say 1980s or 1970s, ethics are simple. It's black and white. But nowadays, we don't have a black and white ethics. We have like the gray ethics. Like, we really don't know because of a lot of options. We really don't know if it's ethical or not non-ethical. Let's just say, for example, the use of robots in taking care of elderly patients. Is it ethical or non-ethical? Is it beneficial? Does that preserve our values? Like, if you will be taking care of the robot, does that dehumanize you? So that's an issue in ethics, and it can't be answered with a simple yes or no. So we have to dig more onto ethics, and it's very important as students in nursing information or in nursing information that we know the ethics behind the use of technology. So the same authors, McGonigal and Mesrian, quote Velasquez and others in 2010 defined ethics into two parts. First part is that it refers to well-based standards of right and wrong that prescribes what humans ought to do, usually in terms of rights, obligations, benefits to society, fairness, at specific virtues. The second portion of it is that it refers to the study and development of one's ethical standards. So regardless of its definition, a common characteristic regarding ethics is its dialectical goal-oriented approach to answering questions, which allows for the potential for multiple answers. Knowledge check. Please read the question number 1 and write the answer on a piece of paper. I'll give you time to do this activity. This is question number 1. Question number 2, write your answer on a piece of paper, and I'll give you time, and if you need more, just pause this video. So let's continue. Bioethics is the study and formulation of healthcare ethics. It takes on relevant ethical problems experienced by healthcare providers in the provision of care to individuals and groups, according to McGonigal and Mesrian 2021. Bioethics emerged in 1970s because healthcare moved from a mechanistic approach of treating diseases to a more holistic approach of treating people with illnesses. It is also brought by the advancement of technology wherein patients receive high-tech care. When I was in the Philippines, when I studied in 2005, we don't have bioethics. It was new at that time. In the following years, they applied bioethics. They introduced bioethics as a course in college. So bioethics is very important because it deals with the ethical issues surrounding healthcare. Today, patients, aside from being prescribed with medication, they are also prescribed with new technologies or new applications for their smartphones. Smartphones are being used to interact with them in new ways and to monitor and assess patients' health in some cases. Here in Canada, you will find many of the apps encouraged by physicians to use. Even insurance companies in Canada use cell phones to track drivers' behavior and will determine insurance fee. So in your caring when you care for patients, do you suggest a website or an app to patients? So your responsibility, if you recommend website, your responsibility is to make sure that that website is trustworthy and a credible source of information, because if you recommend a website or an app to your patient for your patient to use, you will have no control on how the patient will use, and you will have no control on how the patient understands the information. And make sure, if you recommend something like a website or high-tech stuffs, you have to try them first before recommending them to other people. In healthcare, an example of these are sensors. We talked about this in the previous units. And I think you remember Freedom Libre, but now we will talk about Google Glass. Google Glass. I've known Google Glass for several years. I think way back when I was in the Philippines, I wanted to use that. I think this technology is a flop, isn't it? I think Google never mass produced them. They gave it to some to try, but they were not able. I know someone who is blind who uses Google Glass, and it improved his vision. So for this purpose, I will use Google Glass as an example, or Glass. Google Glass or Glass is an augmented reality or AR headset that provides an interact experience within a real world environment, and it has been updated in 2019 for the workplace. This AR device or augmented reality device can take pictures, audio, and video discreetly and silently, so no one really knows if it is recording. In healthcare, this may violate patients' privacy and confidentiality. On the other hand, it can also give nursing informaticians a data-rich environment for diagnosing, addressing, and monitoring health issues. As we analyze huge patient data sets, concerns arise about privacy, confidentiality, and data sharing. So that's according to John Hopkins Brennan Institute of Bioethics, ND. And how about when patients use Google Glass when they are hospitalized and when they interact with you? How about they record your interactions? So does that raise concerns or raise an ethical issue in our healthcare environment? So that's why we discuss this topic, bioethics or ethics in nursing informatics. So we will know what's the ethics behind the use of these newer technologies. Also, we are starting to use social media to engage with our patients, and sometimes patients are like sneaky enough to look at your nameplate and then search you in Facebook. So that's why you have to be very careful with your name in Facebook. I don't really use my original name in Facebook, although my name, I'm so dumb. When I was in the Philippines, I used to create websites for education. I used to create a website as a hobby. So when I register my domain name, I register my full name, my full name, my address, my phone number. I I publish it together with my registration. And it was just very foolish because right now, if you search my name in Google, I am searchable. And if someone knows my real name, they will search it in Google and they will know exactly my history. So right now, we are starting to use social media to engage our patient. Like for example, an application of this is when you go to the community and then you tell them that if you wanna join our Facebook group or whatever, join this, and we use them. A lot of doctors I know, they discuss medical conditions over social media. So, isn't it a security risk when people look at your nameplate and search you on Facebook? Um, for me, it is a security risk, and even you without even knowing, they are sneaking into our homepage and taking a look at our pictures. And I think our pictures are private, isn't it? Not unless you want to, showcase your life to other people. It is now very clear that personal and ethical dilemmas abound for nurses in the new over-connected, quote-unquote, over-connected world through social media tools, which are connecting employees and people in a global level. Knowledge check. Please read question number 3 and write your answer in a piece of paper. I'll give you time to do this, and if you need more time, please pause this video. Question number 4, write your answer in a piece of paper and transfer it later on the stream provided. Now we talk about ethical issues and social media. What is social media? Social media, as according to Specter and Capel, 2012, as quoted by McGonigal and Mastrian 2021, is a group of internet-based applications that build on ideological and technological foundations of Web 2.0, and that allows the creation and exchange of user-generated content. What is Web 2.0? So Web 2.0 is a transition from the boring HTML to a more dynamic, more organized presentation of information. Just like EHR, your electronic health record, social media keeps a real-time record of communication. So nurses can enhance and provide timely communication and education regarding health-related matters by using this forum. By the way, in AHR, everything you do to a patient is logged in. So when a doctor, when you open the chart of the patient, it logs. Domino Poisson open the chart and what time. So it's a time log. So when you give medication, it logs that thing. Every second, every minute, something, any activities in the HR will be logged. So when you write progress note, it will be logged what time, and you can actually see that, and that's where we see if the doctor has seen this patient, if the PT has seen this patient, or did the laboratory took labs for this patient, or the medical reconciliation from the laboratory has been reviewed. So that's when we know. So we look at the logs. So the same social media is the same as the AHR. It logs your life. It is a type of communication. Okay. So this actually changes the meaning of communication, right? So nurses can enhance and provide timely communication and education regarding health-related matters by using this forum. Nurses must exercise wise and thoughtful or reasonable use of social media to protect clients' rights. As nurses, we must understand our obligation to our profession, particularly as it relates to personal behavior and the perception of our image as portrayed through social media. Above all, nurses must be mindful that once communication is written and posted in the internet, there is no way to retract what was written because the internet is a permanent record that can be tracked even if the post is deleted. So, in my case, even if I deleted all the websites that I created, that I published, I made a lot of blogs before, and these are blogs that I'm regretful to post, and these are the blogs that is not well thought of. I took a certain amount of time to delete them, and some websites I think keeps a record of them, and it's still online until right now. And they just changed the domain name, but my entry is still there. So we have to remember that everything we post is permanent. There must be something somewhere, a cloud that stores that information. So everything you say in social media is final. Okay, and I heard a lot of people post in social media and later on deleted it, and they have justifications like their FB is hacked. Like, no one would believe that. Like, that's a poor justification. If Because FB provides you with a higher level of security, and you are asked to put in a good password. So it's less likely, and someone used my account, sneaking into my computer, something like that. All those boring and poor justifications. So as a nurse, you have to make sure that what you post is final. Think of that. And it is not deleted in the internet. It is forever in the internet. And sometimes I regretted posting some beliefs that I have before, and now it's still online. And someone took a screen capture of it, so it's there forever. I know you guys are very familiar with social media platforms, right? Like Facebook, very famous. Like old people like me uses Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, YouTube, and other wikis, blogs, Skype, Instagram, and Hangout feature in Google Plus are all social media. So I'll give you stats, right? Facebook reported an average of 2.38 billion active users worldwide as of March 31, 2019. According to Facebook, a user spends an average of 38 minutes on Facebook per day. Can you imagine that? You wasted 38 minutes on Facebook per day. Twitter, another, and I think it's more because there's a lot of content in Facebook that are fun. Twitter, on the other hand, influence in healthcare is growing. Sumplur 2020, as quoted by McGonigal and Maestri in 2021, said that 2 billion plus tweets are related to healthcare, covering 17,265 topics on healthcare. So the lightning speed growth, the fast growth of social media has caught healthcare workers off guard and sometimes unprepared to the new challenges of new technologies and new approaches. The need to maintain confidentiality is a major obstacle to the healthcare industry's widespread adoption of new technology. Therefore, social media has not been fully embraced by health professionals. And there are some institutions, like healthcare organizations, that are off the grid and don't want to adopt social media. Whether you like it or not, we have to adopt social media and we have to be promoters of information dissemination, and that we should not promote false informations. And I remember when social media started, a lot of ethical issues has arose. A lot of things that were not thought of before that became ethical issues. One of the ethical issues happened in 2008. So things were very new at that time. This one is from Kapuso mo Jessica Soho, and I'll show you a video of an ethical issue concerning healthcare, not abroad, not in Canada, but in Cebu. Okay, watch this. Another reason why there's a slow adoption of new technology in healthcare is the increased use of cell phones by both the public and the healthcare professionals. Smartphones can capture video or audio and can broadcast live recordings, and they have found their way into the treatment rooms all over the globe. In the Philippines, cell phone has found its way into the operating room. The video I'll show you is a report from Jessica Soho Reports, or I think Kapusumo Jessica Soho by GMA, and it is widely known as the canister scandal in 2008. Let's watch this.
Mainit na pinag-uusapan ngayon ang iskandalong nangyari sa Cebu. Isang napakaselang operasyon na matagumpay na naisagawa, pero ang resulta, kontrobersya. Nilapastangan di umano kasi ng mga doktor ang privacy ng kanilang pasyente. Nitong nakaraang linggo, isang malaking iskandalo ang kumalat sa cellphone at YouTube. Ang pinangyarihan ng skandal, ospital, ang Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center. Ito ang binansagang Cebu Canister Scandal. Ang laman ng video, hindi sex video.
So, this is a sterile environment, and let's
Kundi
So this is the sterile area. So everybody's wearing a green gown, a cap, a sterile mask, gloves, and this should remain sterile. And inside the operating theater, there should be a limited number of people, because increasing the number of people inside will increase the bacteria count or the microorganism count in the air, and we know that if there are a lot of bacteria in the air, it can cause infection. Let's continue watching.
Isang maselang operasyon ng isang lalaking pasyente. Kitang-kita sa video ang isang body spray na tinanggal mula sa likuran ng pasyente sa maselang bahagi ng kanyang katawan. Pinagpiestahan ito, kinuna ng picture at video ng medical staff.
So this video was taken without the patient's consent and was forwarded via Bluetooth from person to person, and the first one was posted on YouTube. I don't know what's inside people's brain when they put it on YouTube. When I first saw this one, I was surprised, and I was like, how could people do this? And yeah, so this is the reason why we don't really adopt to new technologies, especially the ones with cameras, iPads, all the stuff, tablets, because of this reason. Cell phone find its way into the treatment rooms, operating rooms, and capture and post stuffs online.
Pagkatapos, inispray pa. Ang mga kuhang ito, hindi pinahintulutan ng pasyente. Dito sa Cebu, nakilala namin ang pasyenteng yun, si Danilo, hindi niya tunay na pangalan. Dati raw, masaya niyang pinagkakaabalahan ang kanyang flower decor business. Ngayon, ang kanyang pagkatao, balot na raw ng kahihiyan.
Hindi katulad dati, kahit saan, makalakad-lakad ka, makapunta ka. Pero ngayon, parang hindi ka nakakomportable ba? Kasi nakatingin ang mga tao sa iyo ngiti.
Mainit na pinag-uusapan ngayon ang iskandalong nangyari sa Cebu. Isang napakaselang operasyon na matagumpay na naisagawa. Pero ang resulta, kontrobersya. Nilapastangan di umano kasi ng mga doktor ang privacy ng kanilang pasyente. Nitong nakaraang linggo, isang malaking iskandalo ang kumalat sa cellphone at YouTube. Ang pinangyarihan ng skandal, ospital, ang Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center. Ito ang binansagang Cebu Canister Scandal. Ang laman ng video, hindi sex video, kundi isang maselang operasyon ng isang lalaking pasyente. Kitang-kita sa video ang isang body spray na tinanggal mula sa likuran ng pasyente sa maselang bahagi ng kanyang katawan. Pinagpiestahan ito, kinuna ng picture at video ng medical staff. Pagkatapos, inispray pa. Ang mga kuhang ito, hindi
Yeah, there's a violation of the OR policy. As a nurse and then an OR instructor before, my first comment when I see this video is that why is there a lot of people? That's the first question. Because nurses are masters in sterile technique. So a lot of people inside. The operating theater is a failure of the nurse to provide the patient with a safety environment. And also, there's a failure in nursing informatics. The nursing informaticist, we don't have it. We don't have it at that time, and we don't have ethical ethics in nursing informatics at that time. So yeah, that's why it's difficult to implement this kind of stuff. So let's continue watching.
tulutan ng pasyente. Dito sa Cebu, nakilala namin ang pasyenteng yun, si Danilo, hindi niya tunay na pangalan. Dati raw, masaya niyang pinagkakaabalahan ang kanyang flower decor business. Ngayon, ang kanyang pagkatao, balot na raw ng kahihiyan.
Hindi katulad dati, kahit saan, makalakad-lakad ka, makapunta ka. Pero ngayon, parang hindi ka nakakomportable ba? Kasi nakatingin ang mga tao sa iyo ngiti, parang may ibig sabihin yung ngiti nila, ganun. Noon, nahiya talaga ako. Hindi nga ako lumalabas ng bahay. 2 buwan.
Bagamat hindi nakita ang mukha ni Danilo sa video, dahil sa kumalat na rin sa kanilang lugar ang nangyari sa kanya, madali na rin daw siyang nakikilala.
See, so I agree with this lawyer's response to the issue. Until the patient died, and until he died, it must be confidential, not unless patient gives consent to it to be exposed. Remember during our first few lectures, I told you about the hospital I witnessed where hospital records are in the hallway, and when as a student we used to pick some of those and wrap them with our stuff, wrap the gloves with it, or just take some and then toss it in the garbage. So people should know ethics when they deal with patient information. And this lawyer is right. Until the patient dies, or until the patient, or even if the patient died, his information should be made confidential. Okay, as a nursing informaticist, we have to provide that avenue because of the role of social media, where information travels in lightning speed. We need to provide a secure and confidential environment for our patients.
Ngayon, nanggagalaiti siya sa galit sa mga doktor na anyay dapat sanang unang-unang pumrotekta sa kanya.
Sarap sa palinla eh. Nakita ko sa cellphone. Parang perya. Parang hindi, walang ano, parang hindi sila edukado. Dapat nalagaan nila yung pasyente. Hindi ganun-ganun na lang kung kay ano, mahirap.
Aminado naman ang pamunuan ng ospital na may mga maling nangyari sa kanilang operating room. Pero sana raw, higit na tignan na kahit papaano nailig.
So when I came to Canada, I didn't work as a nurse. I worked as a unit coordination. When sometimes we receive calls, and they don't ask if this patient is there. They don't ask that. What they're asking is that how can we visit this patient? For example, Britney Spears. Hi, how can we visit Britney Spears? And you would say, oh, you can come to the hospital. So you mean to say that Britney Spears is there, and Britney Spears is in the emergency department. Or they will ask, hey, this is Britney Spears' family. Can we ask how is she? We're so what they call this, worried about her. And they just say that. They didn't tell you that they are family. They might be like on a live radio broadcast right now, pranking a person who's answering the phone. So we're trained how to answer those types of call. So we don't what they call this, disclose their information. I did had a lot of I think one celebrity and one basketball player admitted in that hospital. And there was a couple of media persons who called and asked me about them, and I just say no. I don't know. We're not allowed to do it. I would sometimes answer like, I'm sorry, I can't give you information over the phone because of security issues, and I can't verify your phone number. If you are interested to visit a patient in the hospital, you can come to the hospital and take a look at or contact your patient directly, or your friends to know where your patient is. So that's how I answer, and they would be so mad at me over the phone, and well, that's all I can do. That's my job, and I don't want to disclose any personal information about my patients. Let's continue watching this interesting story.
Tas nila ang pasyente.
Yung technical aspect, yung operational, ang sabi nga nila is maganda yung paggagawa. Kasi nga, instead na magbukas sila, no, they will do an invasive procedure, hindi na sila nagbukas. On that part, dapat nga, commendable sila. Kaya nga lang, sinasabi ng committee ko na meron ngang pagsosobra sa mga behavior at saka may kunting mga violation sa OR policy.
Pero kahit patagumpay ang operasyon, hindi sang-ayon ang PRC o ang Professional Regulation Commission sa mga inasta ng mga doktor at nurse.
Hindi yun sa naging tagumpay ang operasyon, ang bata yan eh. Kung hindi yung sekreto, yung karapatan ng pasyente na hindi dapat nilabag.
Ayon kay Attorney Farson Mamalo, nilabag ng mga doktor at nurse sa video ang kanilang Code of Ethics. Sa Code of Ethics ng mga doktor, ang medical history at records ng isang pasyente, confidential. Maaari lang itong isa publiko o pag-usapan kung may pahintulot ang pasyente.
Maging successful may yung gamutan o hindi, ay strictly confidential yan hanggang mamatay, kahit namatay ang pasyente. Hindi pwedeng ilabas yan.
Maging sa Amerika, Mainit ding usapin ngayon ang tungkol sa mga paglabag sa Code of Ethics. May mga medical staff daw kasi na palihim na kumukuha ng impormasyon mula sa mga medical records ng mga sikat na celebrity at personalidad. Ibinubunyag daw kasi doon ng mga medical staff ang iba't ibang mga sakit ng mga artista sa media para ang mga ito'y makascoop. Ang huling na biktima, ang dating Charlie's Angel star na si Farrah Fawcett at ang pop princess na si Britney Spears.
That was a very nice reporting. So as nursing informaticists, we have to make sure that the code of ethics and policy in the institution that we work should align with the recent times. What I mean is that it must be updated to suit the modern day nursing. At this point, healthcare professionals are not ready on how to deal with using new technologies. I am actually stunned upon viewing this video because no one in that team said something. In Canada, we are not allowed to take pictures, videos, and audio recording or anything that could be linked to a patient. Even a picture of blood in the floor, which is posted online, can be linked to a patient. So be careful about that. Therefore, none of this should be posted online, and covering them does not help either. As Jessica Soho said, use technology for the benefit of the people. So that's an ethical values, beneficence. Okay. Ethical issues and social media. As a consequence of more stringent confidentiality laws and widespread availability and use of social and mobile media, numerous ethical and legal dilemmas have been posed to nurses. What are not well defined are the expectations of healthcare providers regarding technology. Nurses employed in the emergency department setting have been subjected to video and audio recording by patients and families. One time, as I was showing a patient how to drain a Jackson Pratt drain, the family immediately took a video of me for the reason that they will review it at home because they will forget it. But I said no, I don't give them consent to it and to hold them, and I told them to delete the file. It is also wise that nurses ask the institution they work on a policy of video recording by patients and families. During the time of pandemic, there was this famous video, what they call this? Video, I don't know, YouTube, YouTube, what do you call that person? A YouTube personality recorded me on live, and I said, no, I don't give consent. Please delete that one. Recorded me while doing nasal swab on him. So I said, I don't give consent to that. So please remove that. So the law requires consent of all parties to any recording or eavesdropping activity. Another example is student nurse who cared for a 3-year-old leukemia patient whom she wanted to remember after finishing her pediatric clinical experience, took a picture and shows the patient's room number. The picture was posted in the student's FB account. Someone forwarded the picture to the nurse supervisor. The student nurse was expelled from the program. The clinical site offer made by the Children's Hospital to the nursing school was revoked. The hospital faced citations for violations of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA. We talked about this in a previous topic, so I don't have to discuss them again. Sometimes we think that by blurring the patient's face, deleting patient's name in our posts in social media sites, blogs, and microblogs, think that we are not violating patients' privacy and confidentiality. This action does not protect the patients. Okay, so my suggestion: don't take pictures in your clinical setting. Okay, I'm very serious about that. Regardless if the family asks you, can we have pictures? Just say no, because if you post it online, it's not gonna protect the patient. Okay, so just no, because someone might see that and file legal complaints against you. I'm very intense at that time. At that point, I'm so intense. So don't take pictures, okay? Now let's check. This is question number 5. write your answer on a piece of paper and pause when you need more time. And then I'll give you time to do this activity, okay? Next question, number 6. Sorry. Next question, number 7. Next question, number 8. Once again, write this in a separate paper. Put your answer on a separate stream, and then pause this video if you need more time. And question number 9. Let's proceed with ethical dilemmas and moral dilemmas. So, ethical dilemmas arises when moral issues raise questions that cannot be answered with a simple, clearly defined rule, fact, or authoritative law. So, authoritative view. So, whether a person choose the one way or the other, it's like what do you call this? It's like not for, it's either for the benefit or not for the benefit of him. Okay. Morals is social conventions about right and wrong. So that's moral. And wrong human conduct that are so widely shared that they form a stable communal consensus. So morality, so like the right and wrong, right? Moral dilemma arise with uncertainty, as is the case when a person is confronted with evidence that indicates an action is morally right and other evidence that indicates the same action is morally wrong. And when you have a moral dilemma, or uncertainty arise, and you will be confused which one to follow, which one to choose. Okay. Uncertainty causes a person on what he or she should do, and dilemma is a situation requiring a choice between undesirable alternatives, whether you choose the other or the other, like one or the other. It's not getting you, it's putting you into trouble. Sometimes when we cannot decide what to do, there is a need for ethical decision-making model. So in our hospital, we have this ethical decision-making model that I will discuss later on. And this one helps you to choose the best action. As nurses, we are tempted to provide the patient with an answer right away in front of them. But actually, we can always say no. We can always say, I don't know the answer. I'll come back later on. I'm going to ask someone to help me with this kind of decision. Okay, or what kind of advice will I give you? In the place where I work, we have an on standby ethicist that you can call and invite them to the team, and they can help you decide on issues that cannot be answered with a plain yes or no. So these ethicists use ethical decision making model, so they can arrive into a better decisions. Help the patient arrive into a better decision. You shouldn't do it alone, okay? In terms of ethical decision making, like technologies, like what are the ethics, what are the ethical consideration, morality in using this technology? You don't have to do it alone. You have to invite a physicist to explain to the patient what's going on. Knowledge check. Read a question. This is number 10, and write the answer in a piece of paper. And I'll give you time. And if you need more time, please pause the video. Next question, number 11. Read very well and answer. Ethical decision making. This refers to the process of making informed choices about ethical dilemmas based on a set of standards differentiating right from wrong. So the concept of non-maleficence, meaning do no harm, will be broadened to include those individuals and groups that one may never see in person, like the online people, but which will enter into a professional relationship of trust and care. So where to we give me an example? What example? Like for number two, what's the example of this? When people go to the internet and search for medical advices, or when your doctor refers you to another doctor from another country. So I think they don't have to have license for a second opinion. Okay, for a second opinion, you don't have license even if it's done online. That's what I think. So as the digital age develops, the rights and needs of individuals and groups will be of utmost concern to all healthcare professionals. The changing meaning of communication will bring with it new concerns among healthcare professionals about protecting patients' rights of confidentiality, privacy, and autonomy. Mac 2000, as quoted by McGonigal and Mastrian 2021, discussed the popularity of individuals seeking information online and set a reminder that organizations and individuals who provide health information on the internet have obligations to be trustworthy, provide high quality content. If you are a nursing student and you're posting online stuff, make sure, and for health, make sure that it is high quality content. And organizations should protect users' privacy and adhere to the standards of best practice for online commerce and online professional services in healthcare. With universal access to information, MACOS 2001, as quoted by McGonigal and Mastrian, suggested that both autonomy and justice will be enhanced. Healthcare workers need to realize that we are no longer the sole providers and gatekeepers of health-related information. Ideally, they should embrace information empowerment and suggest websites to patients that contain reliable, accurate, and relevant information. As patients use the internet increasingly for healthcare purposes, it may prompt entirely new types of ethical issues such as who is responsible if a patient is harmed because of following online health advice. Dors and Miller 2008, as quoted by McGonigal and Mastrian, discussed this issue intensively and concluded that a clear line separates information and practice. Practice, according to them, of course, when there is a direct or personal communication between the provider and the patient, the advice is tailored to the patient's specific use, and there is a reasonable expectation that patient will act in reliance based on in reliance with information provided. In the place I work, we have an ethics team that will help you decide on ethical dilemmas, as I've said, so you don't have to decide it by yourself, because there are some issues that's either black or white, so nurses needs help from other members of the healthcare team to arrive into a well-informed decision. These are the 8 standards for the ethical development of health-related internet sites. So if your organization wanted to make a website that gives information, we have to follow these standards. Candor means candidness or state of being frank or being direct. Okay. Next one is honesty. 2, quality. 3, informed consent. Privacy, professionalism, responsible partnering, accountability. These are the 8 standards for the ethical development of website. It's very important to realize that these standards for ethical development of health-related internet sites are voluntary, although some sites may carry a specific symbol indicating that the website was reviewed and trustworthy. The healthcare provider cannot control the amount of patient engagement or which information patient access or how they perceive an act related to the health information defined online. Knowledge check. Read question number 12 and write your answer on a piece of paper. I'll give you time to do this activity, and if you need more, just pause the video. Next question. This is question number 13. So now let's talk about the theoretical approaches to healthcare ethics. So this is where you get your answers to your assignment or to your activity that I mentioned in the first slide of this video. So healthcare has evolved in response to societal changes. It has evolved from Hippocratic ethic to principalism to the current anti-principalism movement. The Hippocratic tradition came from a homogeneous society, meaning to say that at that time the society is like they share the same beliefs, they don't have that much multicultural aspects of the society. They share common values, and its emphasis is on duty, virtue, and gentlemanly conduct. Principalism, on the other hand, arose as societies become more heterogeneous and members began experiencing a diversity of incompatible beliefs and values. It emerged as a foundation for ethical decision making. Principles are considered broad guidelines that provide guidance for direction but leave substantial room for case specific judgment from principles. One can develop more detailed rules and policies. So anti-principalism movement emerged in the 21st century with the expansive technological change and tremendous rise in ethical dilemmas accompanying these changes. Opponents of principalism claim that principles do not represent a theoretical approach, and thus those who claim that its principles are too far removed from the concrete particularities of everyday human existence because they are too conceptual, intangible, or abstract, or they disregard a person's psychological factors, personality, life history, sexual orientation, or religious, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds. So there are principles at this time that is not applicable to our current conditions, maybe because of changes in technologies. So these are the anti-principalism movement. So if you hear some people would say, "Oh, you're so theoretical." So these are the proponents of the anti-principalism movement. So they are based on what's the actual evidences, and they use other approaches too. In principalism, there are four guiding principles. Beauchamp and Childress in 1994, these are the proponents of principalism, proposed four guiding principles: respect for autonomy, non-maleficence, beneficence, and justice. So autonomy refers to an individual's freedom from controlling interferences by others and from personal limitations that prevent meaningful choices, such as inadequate understanding. The conditions are essential for autonomy: liberty, meaning independence from controlling influences, and an individual's capacity for intentional actions. Non-maleficence asserts an obligation not to inflict harm intentionally and forms the framework for the standards of due care to be met by any professionals. Negligence, which is a departure from the standard of due care toward others, include intentional imposing risks that are unreasonable in an unintentional but carelessly imposing risk. Beneficence, on the other hand, refers to actions performed that contribute to the welfare of others. Justice refers to fair, equitable, and appropriate treatment in light of what is due to a person. Distributive justice refers to fair, equitable, and appropriate distribution in society as determined by justified norms that structure the terms of social cooperation. So this is another approach to ethically, these are used by ethicists to decide on some stuff or to explain some actions or behaviors. You can also use this in your activity. The robot and Frank activity, you can also use the casuist approach. So the casuist has 6 contemporary bioethical standards. But before that, Cashews is a case-based ethical reasoning method that analyzes the facts of a case in a sound, logical, ordered, and structured manner. So the facts are compared to decision arising out of consensus in previous paradigmatic or model cases. So these are the 6 contemporary bioethical standards: autonomy, freedom, veracity, privacy, beneficence, and fidelity. You can also use virtue ethics, another approach to ethical reasoning, in your activity for Robot and Frank. So virtue ethics emphasizes the virtuous characters of individuals who make the choices. A virtue is any characteristics or disposition desired in others or oneself. Virtue ethics ethicists emphasize the ideal situation and attempt to identify and define ideals. According to this view, the cause of any morals weaknesses is not a matter of character flaws, but rather a matter of ignorance. In other words, a person acts immorally because the individual does not know what is really good for him or her, or there's a period where a person can, for example, be empowered by immediate pleasure and forget to consider the long-term consequences. According to Plato, there are four, according to Plato, wisdom, courage, self-control, and justice plays a role in virtue ethics. These are the virtues from Plato. So you can use this one as well. You just have to search, dig deep into virtue ethics, and then explain the questions in Robot and Frank. Or if you don't want this, you might want the other one, care ethics. This is responsiveness to the needs of others that dictates providing care, preventing harm, and maintaining relationships. This is a good one too. Care ethics are less strangely guided by rules, by a focus on the need, but focus on the needs of others and individuals responsibly to meet those needs. In this theory, the specific situation and context in which a person is embedded become a part of the decision-making process. Now let's check. Please read question number 14 and write the answers on a piece of paper, and I will give you time to do this activity. If you need more, please pause this video. Question number 15. With the advent of knowledge age, the world has become a very small space. Language barriers has been broken through technologically based translators, according to McGonigal and Maestrian. In my practice, if my patient does not speak English, I use my Google Translator or my Apple Translator to communicate with the patient. And using the translator may cause some issues as well with the patient, and it may cause because these are cloud-based applications, so your statements are sent to a cloud where they are to be processed and sent back to you as a form of translation. And sending those information to the cloud is a risk because it conveys an ethical risk, because that is a patient information, right? And the patient's response is also a patient record. So your institution should have ethicists to decide on, is it ethical to use translators or not? So the various ethical approaches can be used to help by healthcare to help professionals make ethical decisions in all areas of practice, period. And the focus of this text is on informatics. Informatics theory and practice have continued to grow at a rapid rate and are infiltrating every area of our lives and of our professional lives. New applications and ways of performing skills are being developed every day. Therefore, education in informatics ethics is extremely important. The goal of any ethical system should be that rational, justifiable decisions be reached. Ethics is always there to help the practitioner decide what is right. Indeed, The measure of an adequate ethical system, theory, or approach is in part its ability to be useful in novel contexts. A comprehensive, robust theory of ethics should be up to the task of addressing a broad variety of new applications and challenges at the intersection of informatics and healthcare. To make ethical decisions about informatics technologies and patients' intimate healthcare data and information, the healthcare provider must be competent in informatics period to the extent that information technology is reshaping healthcare practices or promises to improve patient care. Healthcare professionals must be trained and competent in the use of these tools. The competency needs to be evaluated through instruments developed by professional groups or societies like the one I presented you. Such an assessment will help with consistency and quality for the healthcare professionals to be an effective patient advocate. He or she must understand how information technology affects the patient and the subsequent delivery of care period. Informing science and its effects on healthcare, both interesting and important period. It follows the information technology that and its ethical, social, and legal implications should be incorporated into all levels of professional education. So you don't tell of something if you don't really know the technology. You have to be a master of the technology in order to give an ethical advice to your patients. Examine, these are the ethical model for ethical decision making. This is what my workplace use, the ethical, okay, ETHICAL. So E is for examine ethical dilemma, so for conflicting values that exist. T is thoroughly comprehend the possible alternatives available. H is hypothesize ethical arguments. I is investigate, compare, and evaluate the arguments for each alternative. C is choose the alternative you would recommend. A, act on your chosen alternative. L, look at the ethical dilemma and examine outcomes while reflecting on the ethical decision. So if you want to know more about this, please take a look at the link below and study this ethical model. And this is helpful to you. This is taught in our organization, and I don't want to dig deep on this because it will lengthen our discussion for nursing informatics. At least you'll know that this is a tool, ethical tool that they use in order to arrive a very good, sound ethical decision. Question number 16. Please write your answer on a separate piece of paper, transfer them on a separate stream. Question number 17. Once again, if you need more time, please pause this video and play once you're ready. Question number 18. And question number 19. Please don't forget to write your answers on a piece of paper with the right numbering and transfer them in the stream provided later on. So, new frontiers in ethical issues. The expanding use of new information technologies in healthcare will bring about new and challenging ethical decisions according to McGonigal and Ministry until 2021. Consider that patients and healthcare providers no longer have to be the same place for a quality interaction. How then does one deal with licensing if the electronic consultation takes place across state line or country? Did you come to think about it? If you are a registered doctor somewhere around the globe, and can you practice your profession in the United States online? According to Durst and Miller 2008, as quoted by McGonigal and Maestrian, a second opinion medical consultation on the internet where the information was provided by the referring physician and not provided by the referring physician to the patient avoids the licensing issue. In essence, provider this is a provider-to-provider consultation and does not constitute practicing in a state in which you are not licensed. As new technologies of healthcare delivery are developed, new ethical challenges may arise. It is important for all healthcare providers to be aware of the code of ethics of their specific practices and to understand the law governing their practice and private health information. An ideal world, healthcare professionals in an ideal world, healthcare professionals must not be affected by conflicting loyalties. Nothing should interfere with judicious ethical decision making as the technology charged waters of healthcare are navigated. One must own a solid foundation of ethical decision making and practice consistency. Now let's check, read question number 20 and write your answer on a piece of paper. We're almost done. So we're just gonna briefly check on this ethical terms before we finish our discussion. So this is a privacy. Privacy is an important issue related to personal information about the owner of the information or about other individuals that focuses on sharing this information with others electronically and the mechanisms that restrict access to this personal information. In informatics, one question that we should bear in mind is where does the data being collected by the apps used by the patients go? Does our EHR protect our patients' information? Privacy is not hiding information, okay? Privacy is not hiding patient information, but protecting patient information from unauthorized use. Confidentiality, the mandate that all personal information is safeguarded by ensuring that access is limited to only those who are authorized to review the information. Each of us should examine the layers of protection provided to protect the client information from unauthorized use and make sure that only those who are part of the team can access patient information. Security is the protection from danger or loss in informatics. One must protect against unauthorized access, malicious damage, and incidental and accidental damage, and enforce secure behavior and maintain security of computing data, applications, informations, and network. Client information must be applied to the highest level of security, but as what we discussed in the topic, it is very challenging because we advocate the right to information here, which means that clients can access their own information via their preferred apps or gadgets, and they have their own passwords too. And we cannot be sure if clients will protect their own information. So now I'm introducing another way to get some points. It's a mystery question. Submit your answer in a mystery question stream. Remember, mystery questions are 5 points bonus to your quiz, and if you don't answer, there are no deductions to your overall class standing. This means that mystery questions are top up to your scores, okay? And now the mystery question is, answer this ethical question. Do you think clients can be given the right to access their patient information, knowing that some clients' gadgets or passwords are at a higher risk to be hacked? Tell me what you think and use ethical approach to answer. This is a bonus point, okay? So you can post your answer to what they call this. You can post your answer to a separate stream entitled mystery question. To give you a hint, use beneficence, okay, and say that according to studies, it enhances communication between doctors and patients to better understand their health conditions. According to Ferrer and others, and by applying high levels of security, one follows the ethical value of doing no harm. By applying high level of security, we protect the client from unauthorized use of their information, thus doing them no harm. Okay, so that's how you answer, and you can actually put that into your answer, and that's 5 points. Okay, now let's talk about policies, guidelines, and laws. So, intellectual property law. So let's watch this video about the intellectual property law from the Center of IP Understanding.
Intellectual property is everywhere. IP helps to solve problems, establish new businesses, and enhance our lives. IP-intensive industries support at least 40 million jobs in the U.S. and contributes more than $5 trillion to the economy. Intellectual property includes creations of the mind, such as Intellectual property is everywhere. IP helps to solve problems, establish new businesses, and enhance our lives. IP-intensive industries support at least 40 million jobs in the U.S. and contributes more than $5 trillion to the economy. Intellectual property includes creations of the mind, such as designs, inventions, and artistic works like music and movies. It also includes symbols and names used in business. IP rights are awarded by governments to individuals and businesses for a limited period of time in exchange for sharing information. Copyrights, patents, trademarks, and trade secrets are property and owned like real estate, vehicles, and jewelry. Observing the laws that govern them is not a matter of choice. Unfortunately, the borders of IP rights are sometimes difficult to recognize and enforce, which can lead to theft. The speed of communication sometimes makes it feel as if IP rules don't apply, that everything is there for the taking, or
Yeah, so we have to be what you call this, concern of intellectual property rights and law. So in every country there is a specific intellectual property law, and it's different from countries to countries. Okay, so we have another mystery question. Okay, you can submit your once again you can submit your answer in the mystery question stream. Remember, mystery questions are 5 points bonus to your quiz, and if you don't answer, there are no deductions to your overall class standing. This means that these mystery questions are top up to your score. And now the mystery question is: discuss briefly the IP or intellectual property law in the Philippines, and what is its name, and how can you apply it in nursing informatics. Submit this one, and this is 5 points on top of your quiz. Congratulations. Let's continue watching.
should be. A song, photo, or video is only a click away. So are many inventions and counterfeit goods. Intellectual property theft costs the U.S. as much as $600 billion annually. It affects product quality, safety, and jobs. Individuals, businesses, and governments infringe IP rights, some routinely. IP is too important to ignore. Everyone needs to learn what is acceptable IP behavior. The Center for Intellectual Property Understanding is an independent nonprofit that fosters awareness of IP rights and how they impact people's lives. CIPU connects
property law. Let's proceed to, we're almost done. We'll proceed to the, so now we continue with copyright law. Let's watch this video from YouTube.
Whether you're a local artist composing your own music or a massive studio filming the next blockbuster, all creators should understand how copyright, public domain, and fair use affect their work. Although these legal concepts can be somewhat confusing, whether you're a local artist composing your own music or a massive studio filming the next blockbuster, all creators should understand how copyright, public domain, and fair use affect their work. Although these legal concepts can be somewhat confusing, we're here to break things down into easily understood language. Keep in mind that this video should not be taken as legal advice. Also, we'll be focusing on copyright in the United States. Copyright is the concept that original works, such as writing, photos, or music, belong to the people who create them, and that you cannot use, copy, modify, or publish that work without permission. If you violate copyright, it's called copyright infringement, and you may face steep consequences, such as lawsuits or criminal charges. The vast majority of movies, music, books, photos, and other types of popular media are protected by copyright. Generally, Those copyrights last for the lifetime of the creator, plus 70 years after their death. However, the duration of a copyright can vary due to its publication date and ever-changing copyright laws. When a work has no copyright protection, it enters the public domain. Content in the public domain can be used, modified, and published without permission or restriction. This includes all works published prior to 1923, as well as works with expired copyrights. Creators can also place their content in the public domain if they desire. Although you normally need permission to use copyrighted material in your own work, there is an exception called fair use. Fair use allows you to use brief portions of copyrighted works without permission for certain types of use, such as criticism, teaching, or news reporting. However, fair use can get tricky. For instance, you may not be able to claim fair use if you use the copyrighted work for a commercial purpose or take too much of it. When in doubt, always respect the creator's copyright and use as much of your own material as possible to avoid issues. Although copyright,
So we have another mystery question here. Submit your answer in the mystery question stream. Remember, mystery questions are 5 points bonus to your quiz, and if you don't answer, there are no deductions to your overall class standing. This means that the mystery questions are top up to your overall score. And now the mystery question is: discuss briefly copyright law in the Philippines and what is its name, and how can you apply it in nursing informatics. And submit your answer in the mystery question stream provided. Now let's talk about privacy of personal public domains. Let's watch this video from YouTube.
We live in a time where the click of a fan is an organization tasked by the government to manage domain names, and they require contact information for every person owning a domain name to be listed publicly in the WHOIS database. WHOIS can potentially list details like your phone number, email address, and home address.
Now, another mystery question. Submit your answer in the mystery question stream. Remember, mystery questions are 5 points bonus to your quiz, and if you don't answer, there are no deductions to your overall class standing. This means that these mystery questions are top up to your total quiz. And now the mystery question is: discuss briefly how you can secure or protect your personal domains in order to prevent hackers in order how to prevent trackers to track you. Remember, the WHOIS domain, who.is activity that we had before, and you see those numbers, like personal numbers of domain registrants. This is how we get their information. But if you want, there's another way. I guess some of you is wondering, like, why is that the number for GoDaddy pops up instead of the original numbers of the creators? It's because they use ICANN, or they use other services that blocks this information and puts the number of the domain server in their information in who.is. So that's how they do it. Okay. So briefly discuss how you can secure or protect your personal domains in order to prevent hackers to track you. Submit it in the mystery question stream. Okay. Let's continue watching.
Address, which can make it easier for scammers, hackers, or potential competitors to find you. And call and email as often as they want. This is where domain privacy helps you out.
So the last part of our discussion will be netiquette. So netiquette is a set of rules that encourages appropriate behavior online related to the social and cultural norms of a community, according to Kuzik and Slovivova 2014, as quoted by McGonigal and Mastrian, that not observing netiquette can be misconstrued as a sign of disrespect. Online and in-person behavior should be the same. We should respect other people whether they are in front of us or online. Nowadays, people need to be taught on etiquette because people are yelling, cursing, and doing inappropriate behaviors online. Another behavior that I can cite is sneaking through an online class, thinking that they are having this invisible cloak and as if nothing happens. They get inside, they get into the online class and don't say anything. Communication is very important in the online world. We don't actually expect students how to communicate. That is why we're teaching it here. We're teaching this topic so students learn how to communicate online in the absence of physical cues that we see in face-to-face interaction. Another example of not following etiquette is by answering. When students answer assignments or quizzes that are already due by not telling the instructor, that's highly disrespectful. Now, it's very clear that we need to review our etiquette, specifically etiquette in dealing and showing our behavior online. Call it etiquette. Etiquette promotes a safe, engaging, respectful, and collaborative group where diversity of opinion is valued um, according to the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Technology. These are the fundamental etiquette rules according to blog.citl.mun.ca. Rule 1, treat others the way you want to be treated. Introduce yourself and courteously respond to others. Raise your hands. Do not hurt others or cause offense. Consider cultural sexual orientations and avoid gender and cultural jokes and sarcasms. And also don't talk about in an online classroom or anywhere on the internet. Don't talk about your personal or religious or political conviction unless otherwise that's a correct platform to do so. Rule 2, behave ethically and responsibly. Think before you click. Always assume that after hitting that send button or post button, everything is permanent. Respect internet laws, privacy, copyright, and complete your work on time. Rule 3, familiarize yourself with technology and environment. Familiarize yourself with norms now that the world is very small because of technology. Rule 4, respect others' time and bandwidth. So, yeah, don't do lectures for 3 hours online. That's a disrespect to other people's bandwidth. They don't have unlimited internet. Rule 5, present yourself positively. Okay, don't have to explain that further. Rule 6, share your knowledge and expertise, contribute and share online. Stop spreading false information and credit credible sources. Rule 7, keep the flame wars under control. Etiquette forbids flame wars, which destroys the camaraderie of a discussion. Seek clarification because contents might be misconstrued, okay? So you have to always seek clarification. Did I get it right? Or can you repeat it again? Something like that. It's a form of etiquette. Rule number 8, be forgiving of others' mistake. Be forgiving. Remember, we are all humans and we all make mistakes. Be gracious and be polite in online classes or in online, whether in social media or anywhere. So for today, these are my references, and that ends our video discussion for today. I hope that you learned something out from this lecture. Please submit your checks, your knowledge checks, and mystery questions to a separate stream. If you have questions, please give me a direct message and I'll reply to you the soonest. And I wish you a wonderful day.